Okay, there we go. We got a little connection issue, but hey, here we go. Are you afraid of the unknown? Are you afraid to go to the unknown? We're going to talk about that. What's happening, family? Hope you're doing well. Hope all is well. Here's another day, another opportunity. Here's another real good day. So, what's happening? Let's do it. Here we go. Ready? One, two, three. So, before we get into it, first of all, I just want to personally tell everybody thank you. Those that saw a couple of posts that I had, I got another post I got to put up just to recap the week. But y'all know I did something I had never did before, and that was actually I bowled the national tour stop on the professional bowlers tour, the senior tour. Correct. And so, um, first of all, I'm gonna thank my wife, because again, so, um, and so thank you. And and I just want to thank everybody for their support. It was a memorable experience. I'm thankful for the experience. I learned a lot. I also understood how good those guys are. And so, shout out and congratulations to everybody that made the cut and continued on in the tournament. Took one to everybody was there. Time experience in the future. But I'll just a shout out to my big brother Norman. Bro, love man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Absolutely appreciate you. God always has a way of to help you get through. Around in the bush, bro. Thank you. Um, this is like one that I talked about, and I just want to allow when it comes to Nimrod, just like Nimrod, so you might hear some different read them or whatever. You hear all kinds of explanations, or that's not. I'll tell you, be careful, listen and read everything, because I can tell you not everything is true. Okay, but then there are a lot of things out there that's true. And history person, I'm not a big no, I'm sorry. Uh, no, we good. Hopefully we good. Um, I don't know. I'm not, um, apologize. I just hold it. But anyway, I tell you, there was a lot of everything, because not everybody's always true. But what I try to do here is come straight from the Bible. And talking about Nimrod, the name Nimrod is not a fake name. You'll listen to it, not being a good guy. Okay, and it even talks about him being the king of really just leave it. I going on with this right here today. And so we have to take this off and apologize for the technical difficulties we are dealing with, a response. So, you know, I apologize. It's a static. So can you hear us? Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly? Hopefully. That should be cut off now. Yeah. Can y'all hear us clearly? I'm working this out. I told y'all better than right now is coming when it comes to this technology. That's better than, okay. All right, okay. All right, let's make it do what it do. So, you gotta love this. Gotta love technology called cell phone. But anyway, so, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for the feedback. That's why we do it live. I told you, what you see is what you get. We don't edit anything right here. But anyway, we're going to go forward. And like I was talking about Nimrod. The name Nimrod means hunter. It means he was a go-getter. Okay? And so the name itself is not bad. But just because someone does something doesn't mean the name is bad. So, if just think about your name. I'm sure there's some folk out here that has the same name as you that have did some stuff they ain't had no business doing. That doesn't make the name bad, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. But that leads us right into Genesis chapter 10, where we are talking about the Tower of Babylon. And it talks about where, like you said, if you read or listen to some things that talk about Nimrod being the king of that land who instructed the people to build this tower, but that's not in the Bible. That's what people are talking about. I can't speak to whether or not that is or not. But in the Bible, it talks about the people building this tower, and it said a few things that said in there was it was a city for, let's build this city for ourselves, and let's build a tower that reaches the sky. And then it says, then they said to make us famous, okay, and to keep us from being scattered. Now, it sounds like there was some selfish motives in that, okay? And so, the first question is, what is our motive for some of the things we do? Some of the things, the things we say, the places we go, the things we do, the mindset behind what it is we're trying to create. What is the purpose? What is the motive behind it? Right here, it sounds like there was a motive that was about self, okay? And as you go on, and you can jump in there in a second, I know I'm tired, but if you read on, then now this is just Ron talking, okay? But if you read in the next few verses, which is what's that? We're in chapter 11. I'm in Genesis chapter 11, but right here it talks where what's the verse right there? Where God, the Lord, came down. What verse number is that? I can't see 5. That. Verse 5. Okay, thank you. Start at verse 5. God is like, okay, look at it. Let's take a look at what they're doing down here. So I honestly believe, this is just Ron talking, that God is here having a little conversation with himself, looking at his people down here building this tower. Like, what they think they doing? And did not tell them to be fruitful and multiply and populate the earth. He said that twice. But now here they trying to say, no, we don't want to be scattered. We want to stay right here. And we're going to build this tower, make ourselves famous, and we're going to stay right here and do what we want to do. Don't sound like that's what God was going to have. He won't have it. He was not having it. And so what he ended up, and this is the reason why they call it the Tower of Babel. That's why they call it the land Babel, Babel, Babel. You know, I'm country. I can't pronounce things exactly the same way it's supposed to be pronounced. But anyway, y'all get it. But he called it Babel because they were babbling, because he changed their language, which ended up making them scattered because they couldn't understand one another. Okay? So he came down and made that change to scatter, because again, if God says do X, Y, Z, guess what's going to happen? X, Y, Z is going to happen. What you got?
Just basically the same thing that you said. The people became very prideful, and decided to erect this building up into the sky to reach God. And God was displeased with that, you know. And it's just like now when nations become very prideful and forget God and do things that God is not pleased with, you know, God is going to step in. And this is a good example of where he stepped in to deal with man's sin. This is like the fourth sin that happened since Adam and Eve was kicked out the Bible.
The garden.
We're all, the garden. We're always doing something. That's all I can say. We're always doing something, and you know, because they spoke one language, God was concerned that they would become intelligent and think that they were gods.
You know.
And so that was one of the reasons why he scattered them and gave them different languages. And now, this is just strictly my opinion.
Okay.
But I think today with like the internet and with just the internet and the technology today,
social media,
that we are kind of moving back to that whole arena again. I mean, you can put in a language in your phone and understand what the other person is saying, and you can be I can be sitting here in my living room and just talking to somebody in Australia right now, just having a conversation. Someone in Australia, etc. Right. You know, the world is becoming smaller again, and but with that and with the AI technology, we still have to remember God and remember that God is God, and we could never be as intelligent as God, and take that in consideration.
So and make sure we take into consideration we don't have a microphone too, so we got to make sure we speak up.
Oh, speak louder. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying I didn't hear you, but I just want to remind you. So, but look, it's the world we live in. You know, it might be packaged different, but it's not different. You read this, you'll begin to see and understand how there's so much correlation between back then and right now. Like they say, it's nothing new under the sun. And matter of fact, in chapter 12, the first words of AI, even though it's a land, I know they're the same thing, but AI is in chapter 12.
Yeah, true.
AI is in chapter 12. Read it for yourself. AI is in chapter 12. Now, that's just the land of AI, but nevertheless, it's in the Bible. But anyway, but since I'm sorry, that was, chapter 12. I wrote the wrong numbers down here in my little notes. But anyway, chapter 12 is AI. But let's get to chapter 12. I think you got what we was talking about as far as the Tower of Babel in chapter 11. But chapter 12, here's our first time meeting Abram, okay, who would later on become Abraham, okay? But Abram is the guy that we want to talk about right now. And Abram, this is when I ask the question, are you, let me, I always write these things down because I take little notes and stuff, but I ask you this question. Are you afraid to go to the unknown? Are you afraid of the unknown? Okay? And so here we have, right here, from the very beginning, I want you to read verse 1. Just read verse 1 for me.
Sure. The Lord had said to Abram, leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you.
Would you do that? But just think about that for a second. What she just read, would you do that? Leave everybody that you know, leave what you used to. You've been living there for the last 50 some years. This is what you know. This is your world. Okay? This is all you've known. I mean, you can't get lost where you at because you just know everything about where you at. You know the folk, you know the place to go, you know the places don't not to go. You know what time everything closed. You know this, you know the streets, you know the area, you know everything. But now God tells you, go somewhere else. Are you willing to do that? And not know where you're supposed to be going? Because you know how we are. We love to be in control. I want to know in advance. You know, how many times somebody say, come on, go with me. Where are we going? That's the first thing you said. Where are we going? Because you want to know. And then they's like, you'll see when we get there. Now, either you're going to trust that person or you're not. And if you don't trust them, guess what you're going to do? Stay right there where you at. But if you trust the person, you're going to go ahead and roll with them. It's no different right here. Abram, you got a decision to make. I want you to pick up and go. Leave the family, leave the house, leave the car, leave everything. Take a few things with you, but all the other stuff that you've been knowing in the past, leave that behind. It's time to go. Would you do that? Would you do that?
Well, if I read the preceding chapters, yes, I would. As it said, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you and make you famous.
Yes.
And you will be a blessing to others.
That is what he did. That's what he told him.
And it's because God asked me. Now, if man asked me, that's a whole nother chapter.
So if man asks you, it's a whole different ball
Whole
game.
different ball game.
But if God asks you,
no consideration.
No consideration. You're doing it. You're doing it, right?
I'm doing
okay.
It.
Now, how you know God told you to do that? Ooh. I'm just saying.
I'm reading the word right there. That's how I know he told Abraham.
So, but I posed that question. I simply posed that question because sometimes in life, we have a decision that we're going to have to make. Okay? And it's never, I ain't going to say never. Sometimes it's just not easy because we are so used to what we're used to. We know it. We're comfortable with it. And it doesn't make sense for me to pick up and go when I don't understand why I need to leave. What's wrong with me staying right here and being blessed where I'm at? Sometimes you're going to have to leave where you're at in order to get what God has for you. A lot of great people, a lot of great things have happened in people's lives. Why? Because they decided to give God a try. They decided, okay, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna rock with you. Let's see what happens. Okay? So, but I didn't really mean to go there, but I guess I was. But but in verses 1 through 9, as she just talked about, God said, yes, I'm not going to tell you exactly where the land is right now, but I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to make sure that you and your descendants are going to be taken care of. I got you, but you're going to have to trust me. You're going to have to trust me. And when I get you there, then I'll show you, which is what he did. He told them, this is the land I'm going to give you, which is the land of Canaan. He said, I'm going to give you this land right here. All right, so now we got that. But then here come verses 10 through 20. Lord have mercy. Abram, God just told you, I got you. Go here and handle your business. But then in verse 10, it says there's a severe famine that takes place. A severe famine takes place. And so he ends up going to Egypt. And he goes to Egypt and he does something dirty and try to call it clean. Lord have mercy, Abram. And right here is where I'm going to let my wife take over right here. Because I know she's just busting at the seams to talk about this one right here. But so am I. But go ahead, man.
Oh, no. He just, his wife, Sarah, her name wasn't changed.
Yeah. Sarai, yeah. Sarai, which will later on be Sarah.
Right, right. And so when he arrived in Egypt, he told Sarai, that to pretend that she was his sister instead of his wife, because he was afraid that the Egyptians were going to take her and kill him. Mm-hmm. But he said that if she said that she was his sister, then the Egyptians would bless him, and they did. They gave him like cattle and you know,
they gave him all kinds of stuff and things. They hooked him up. But he got the hook up.
Yeah, but I told Ron, I said, I have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That he willingly gave his wife to Pharaoh so Pharaoh could marry her or be with her.
Fellas, are you willing to give your wife up for that money? I'm going to put it to you like this in the 2024 version. Are you willing to be a pimp? Abram was a pimp right here. Because it's about that money. Put her out there.
No, it wasn't about that money. It was about that he didn't want to get killed.
He got stuff and things for her.
Well, he did.
That's what he went there to get. He went there to get the stuff and things.
He did.
So why couldn't he get the stuff and things and still show that that's his wife?
Because he knew they were going to kill her.
Either you're going to trust him or you're not. Now, maybe, just hypothetically speaking, it's this conversation. But maybe, because it did not say in the Bible that God told him to go to Egypt. Was he really supposed to go to Egypt? Now, something took place in Egypt. He was able to bring some stuff back to the land of Canaan, because he actually, after Pharaoh realized what was going on. I don't know how Pharaoh realized what was going on, because the Bible didn't say how, but Pharaoh realized what was going on and realized, hey man, this is really your wife. You trying to give her to me?
Because the Lord sent terrible plagues.
Yes, the Lord sent a terrible plague to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh realized what was going on and figured out that this is your wife. Get out of here. Take your stuff, get out of here, and get gone. So that's what happened. He got up out of there. But why did he have to do that? Why did Abram have to lie and have his wife become his sister so that he could get the stuff and things and feel like he won't lose his life? Now, granted, fear would make us do all kinds of crazy things. So I'm not really, I'm busting his chops, but I'm really not too, because the reality is we never know what we're going to do when we get in certain situations. We hope we're going to act a certain way or do certain things, but sometimes when we are in a situation where there's some fear there, we'll act in a way that we probably wouldn't expect to act or didn't think that we would act. And that might have been what happened with Abram here. He got there and realized, man, my wife has got it going on. She is all that bag of chips and the dip and all of that, right? She's very beautiful. They gonna want her. And they gonna kill me to try to have her. So if I front like she's my sister, then they'll spare my life. Maybe fear might have kicked in. I don't know. The Bible didn't say, but I'm just only thinking that why would you do that? That's your wife. And God sent you. Now, maybe he did send you right here, because it didn't say God told him to go to Egypt. He told him to go to the land of Canaan. But the famine that took place, maybe he felt like he needed to go to Egypt to get stuff that he needed for the land of Canaan. Eventually, he ended up returning, and he had some stuff. Then maybe that was a blessing that he was able to use that to bless the people. But why did he have to do that to get it?
I don't know. All I know is God didn't give you a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind.
But of power and of love and of sound mind. He gave you all three. So use it. Okay? Look, just something to think about. I'm not even sitting here act like we had the answer, because we don't have the answer for that. Okay? We really don't. But it's worth thinking about, and we use this time for us to think about ourselves. Look at ourselves. Are we, in some of the things we do, some of the things we say, some of the places we go, is that where we're supposed to go? Is that what we're supposed to do? Is that really what we're supposed to be saying? Use this word to take a look at on the inside of us. Make sure we're doing all we can to dot the I's and cross the T's. Because if God sent you, trust me, he got you. He already going to make provision for you. He's going to make sure you're good. He's going to make sure that you are all right because he got something for you to do. I wonder did Abram really have to do that? Don't know. He did it, but we can't really be mad or talk about Abram because we done been there, done that too. And it's because of God's grace that we still here today. So we're going to give him thanks. And it even did talk about him when he got to the land of Canaan. He did set up an altar to give God praise. So when God blesses you, don't forget who did it. Give him honor, give him praise, give him thanks. And you continue to move forward in what he got for you to do. We love you. We out of here. I could keep going on, but it's time to shut it down. So, love you. We're going to see you next week at 6:30. And what you supposed to do?
Pray.
Lord have mercy. One of these days she going to get her. Oh, my gosh. Pray, plan, prepare, proceed.